So, Rooflemonger, the fighting game influencer, just made a video about Darkstalkers and how much of a pioneer of fighting game mechanics it was back in the mid-90s. I personally feel like Asuka 120% Burning Fest was an equally big pioneer, thanks to Guile Winquote for teaching me about that game. But I guess it wasn't as big of an influence because it was just a Japanese doujin game. Anyways, the fact stands that the Darkstalkers games were a big thing, and many people love them even to this day. You know, with Riot Games putting out 2XKO soon, Arc System Works working on Marvel Tokon while continuing DLC for Guilty Gear Strive. We just got that new Hunter x Hunter game, which unfortunately has terrible netcode. Sega is putting out a new version of Virtua Fighter 5 and of Virtua Fighter 6. SNK is apparently going to continue DLC for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves for like the next decade, and claims they're going to put out a new Art of Fighting sequel and a new Samurai Showdown. My question is, what does Capcom have for fighters right now? Well, they got Street Fighter 6 and its continual Avatar costume DLCs, and a bunch of admittedly high-quality retro collections whose player bases all dwindle soon after release. Capcom, now is the time to reveal that you're 60% done development on a new Darkstalkers game. I mean, there is the worry of fighting game oversaturation like we had in the late 90s when Capcom released versions of Street Fighter Alpha and versions of Street Fighter 3 within months of each other. I wouldn't want to go through the dark ages of the mid to late 2000s again, where all we got was Mortal Kombat for a decade. That was rough. But I still think Capcom needs to do more to compete with all these other modern fighting games and their Saudi Arabian investor money. I don't think the new Darkstalkers game should be a tag team game like so many of the other fighting games releasing now are. You know, all these tag team versus games are so popular now. I think it should stay one-on-one like in the old Darkstalkers games. But I think they should lean into the sexy, cartoony horror animations like in the old ones. Like how some supers would cut people in half or make them explode or whatever. Just do it with 3D cel-shaded graphics like Dragon Ball FighterZ. I just want to play as Victor Gurdenstein in 4K resolution and do his overpowered jumping heavy punch into light punch, medium punch, heavy punch magic series, and then cancel it into that double lariat thing. That shit is so fun. Maybe it could use that progressive controls mode from Fighting EX Layer as a compromise between simple input controls and classic motion controls. I always loved how that progressive controls worked in Fighting EX Layer. I mean, maybe they could pay off Arika. I don't know. Also, can you imagine the new horror stereotype monsters they could add to Darkstalkers? Like a Sadako VHS tape girl with a big knife, or a Slenderman who has limbs like Dalsim and tosses notepad pages as traps, or a creepy animatronic mascot that bites you like Blanca. That shit has been available on Mugen and other fan fighting games since forever, but Darkstalkers never had a chance to mess with that shit. They would do awesome shit with it. Anyways, the only problem with Capcom adding Darkstalkers to the market is how will the Capcom Cup work when Capcom has 2 fighting games? Will they have $1 million prize pool for Street Fighter 6? But the winner of the Darkstalkers Are Not Dead tournament just wins a tour of a haunted house or something? Like, how will they do it?